We are recording. Welcome to API Expression. It's the 7th of July, and we have no agenda items today. Does anybody who's here want to add something or bring something up? Silence means no. Then we'll yes. Okay. Then let's go over the items. We have client-side to server-side transition. I've seen PRs for that. I don't know if Julian is here.
I think we need to look at it. I would think it's done. I don't know yet, but maybe it's done. I think we merged the main PR. I should clean that up.
Yeah, I saw some stuff.
Find me on this somehow.
Yeah.
On the document, so that I can clean that up. Yeah, thank you.
There you go. All right. Default associated keys are missing. I haven't seen anything new on it. Jenny here? Don't think so. Bill example for field naming policy. I think, oops.
Hey, Joe, do you want to talk about the dangling thing?
Yeah, sure. So that's presumably a link to the doc. So what we did is we looked at a bunch of different designs for dealing with the removal of fields, and we reviewed the current behavior with map, like associated map and list items, and the best option that we found was that if you remove an item, a field, and nobody else owns it, then we are going to remove it from the live object as well. So this is a slight change in behavior. I don't think a lot of people would have noticed it because it's a pretty common thing to do. So there's some pros and cons listed here. We went through like 7 other options and looked at a lot of different ways of dealing with this. The one outcome of this is that we're probably going to need some way to express that I want to own the fact that a field is unset, or I want to own the fact that a map or a list item should be gone, which is currently not expressible very well. And to express that, we can introduce the idea of a tombstone. So that would be a follow-up to this. But you can imagine today, like right now, if there are multiple actors that are working on an associated map, there is right now no way to say, I want to own the fact that this map item shouldn't exist. There is no way to do that right now. So that's a bit of a gap as a leftover from this, but what this does do is it makes things a lot more consistent. You don't have to remember a separate rule for associative map lists than for fields, and which is important because sometimes people can't even tell from the context very easily if they're dealing with one or the other. So having a single rule makes things a lot simpler. There was also a simplification that I found as a result of this, where if you were an updater, you would get slightly different rules than if you were an applier. So we also made that consistent, and that's in the PR, which I'll include a link at the top of this. But yeah, we're merging this in. We're updating some of the docs to reflect it. One of the major side effects of this is that if you are doing if you are handing a field over to a controller, which we do, so if you are enabling HPA on a resource, typically what you end up doing is having to hand over the replicas field. So it used to be that a user was applying the replicas field and was manually picking the value. Now they're turning on an HPA. They're yielding control of that field to a controller. So that handoff is really important. You don't want to accidentally have the field be reset to its default of 1 there, especially if you have like a large set of replicas. If you have hundreds of replicas of something and you set it to 1, you're going to break your service. We're describing how to do that transfer very carefully. It typically works out well because what will happen is you own the field, the controller is going to take it from you, and then what you're going to do is you're going to observe that the controller now has the field, and then you're just going to remove it from your applied configuration. So the strategy actually does work really nice for that, but it was different than the behavior before where you could just literally abandon it and then let the controller take over after. So at this point, we're transitioning from a strategy where you basically can abandon something and then let a controller take it over after, to where you actually have to do a field ownership transfer. So we're going to add some stuff to the website documentation about doing transfers, both from users to controllers and users to users.
Will that be easy enough that it doesn't happen because people didn't read documentation properly? Like, how accidental can that happen?
So it can happen on accident, but you do have to go and remove the field, right? So like you can't do it just by having the controller take over. If you just turn on HPA, a pretty sane thing's going to happen. Then you're going to get a conflict next time you try and apply, and then if you resolve that conflict by removing the field, you would get the right thing. So the naive flow is actually pretty sane, right? Like, I turned on HPA, I apply, I realize the controller's taken over a field, so I remove the field, and everything works as expected.
Okay. Thanks.
So I will send out probably early next week. I'll send out something about tombstoning so we can address that one limitation, and I'll send out some stuff about the website as well.
Here for the optional field, it says deliberately not possible to leave field unowned. So when I have an optional field and I don't set it in my manifest and nobody else owns it, it just gets unset. If somebody owns it, I transfer ownership. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I should read through it again. I think I didn't have time, but anyway,
Yeah,
I can address it. There's a link to the document.
Feedback welcome. There's a bunch of cases at the bottom where we kind of look over a fairly extensive number of use cases. We looked over the current behavior, which had a couple surprising cases. And then we also, after we made the change, we checked a bunch of cases.
All right.
Thank you.
We have removed managed fields from kubectl get. I don't know if anything happened there.
So Maciej sent an update to the PR this morning, and it's being reviewed. At least for the edit. I think for get, we are not planning on doing anything. We're merely trying to fix the edit use case right now.
Yeah.
Yes. We won't do anything. Yeah.
Okay. For status wiping, I've sent another PR that should be way simpler than the previous one, and yeah, I'm waiting for feedback. I'm still not 100% sure what the best way to handle feature flags will be, because the strategy is currently check if a feature is enabled, if a feature is disabled, and if it wasn't used in the previous object when updating, and we don't have the previous object when resetting fields. So currently I'm only checking if the feature is disabled, and if it's disabled, we do not own the fields. We ignore them for managed fields. And if somebody has more insight or an opinion on that, I'll be very happy to hear it.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen anyone. So today we are tracking everything, including the feature gauge fields and all the random fields that can be set. And I mean, we've had one person notice the status thing. because status is big and it's very common to be edited. I think we're trying to fix the biggest part of the problem.
Yeah.
If we have some fields sometimes that are owned, even if they shouldn't, it's not the end of the world. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we're trying to fix the big problem, which is the status and the spec right now.
All right. This one we can skip. Extending schema validation and validation recipe. Joe, you're on the series. Is there something new, or?
Yeah, I think you can move that to the backlog, to be honest.
Yeah, that
All right.
goes to backlog for now.
Yeah, I'll move it afterwards.
I keep thinking I'm going to get to it.
Document API conventions and principles. Mike, is there anything new?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to confess I haven't made any progress on that.
Don't worry. Topology.
I have finally moved the task from the project to the document.
Yeah. All
But
right.
we don't have to actually do anything about it, which is sad.
Yeah.
Maybe once we hit code freeze, we could do something.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot to be done for the documentation aspect.
Yeah. Directly convert COD structural schema to SMD schema. I don't know about anything happening there. I'm not sure if I was watching the pull request.
That's
PR.
yeah, we have changes to make.
All right. Okay. How important is that?
Quite. Stefan has been pinging me about it reasonably often because it breaks some use cases and some workflows.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, we could fix it.
Right. I saw something about server-side apply doesn't honor force. I think there was a PR that disabled force for server-side apply.
Yeah, I am going to move that right now.
Yeah, there we go. It's merged.
Okay, yeah, let me move that to the bottom.
Solve update failures when updating managed fields. I think, did we backport all the changes? Are we done with that?
I think, yeah, same. I need to look it up, but I think we should be done. If not, there is something wrong.
All right. If we are, I'd also ping the mechanical people that helped reproducing. They might want to know about it. Oh, here's the cherry picks. They are crossed. Yeah, we might be good on that one. I'll look it up again. Server-side apply manually updating managed field should be impossible for your sub-resources. I don't see Andrea on the call. And Antoine just finished. Let's get back to that. So I think, yeah, there's a PR for it. And there was some changes asked. All right, we have to look at it again. We still have to fix the API service. I don't think anything happened here, but it was mentioned. Anton, do you know anything new about the manually updating sub-resources?
No.
I think we have to do some review. I don't recall.
There was a PR, no?
Yeah.
Have we seen a PR?
Yeah, there was one. Here, work in progress. Oh yeah, it was waiting on one of Julian's PRs because of merge conflicts.
Okay, maybe we should ping
Yeah.
Nodo. Cool.
All right. I don't know about anything happening to API service. We still have to do that. And I think there was nothing new for not tracking managed fields. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I think
right.
we're done.
So I did remember something. I'm sorry, I should have brought up at the first.
No,
In the June 17th SIG API machinery meeting, we did bring up a topic that was noted as appropriate, really an expression working group topic, which is something that it's been a while now, so I'm not going to remember it clearly, but there's something about it in the notes. So if you look at the the agenda notes for the API machinery working group, there's an item here about schema verification around core defaults. I think the idea was wanting to get defaults into the expression. I mean, this is on the broader topic of, we have this kind of funky semi-IDL, and we just need to do a better job on the IDL, and the idea would be getting defaults, expression of defaults into the IDL.
We had a discussion on the Slack channel as well about like the broader tags and figuring out what to do between the Cube Builder IDL and the one that's built in as well. It's largely related.
Yeah, my understanding was that we were going to have a default tag for built-in types and probably use the same one for Cube Builder.
Certainly should not be different between the two.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, didn't we discuss it last time here? I think Ken brought it up, and we left with Jenny I think Jenny was working on those default tags.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't remember. Okay.
We don't have it in our list. I don't know if it should, if somebody knows where it is.
Somewhat in the list. It's under defaulted associative keys are missing.
Yeah, okay.
Which is kind of related, but not the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's already, that's yeah, it's related. The idea is just we need to get defaults into the IDL.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So is Jenny going to come back then with something on that?
That's what I'm expecting, yes.
Yeah.
Do we have a time idea on when?
I can ask her. She's not in the meeting today, but I can ask her for a new timeline.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Sully, sorry, Sully, who did you say the conversation about the tags happened with?
It was on Slack in the SIG API machinery channel with Jordan and David, I think.
Right.
It was red.
Cool. I might go back and read that too, because I kind of want to catch up on what's happening. That's great that the people are talking about it.
So, but as far as I understood it last time, it only helps with defaults that are like fixed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There is that limitation. And yeah, the fact of the matter is we have behavior that has more complex defaults, and it was recognized that, at least for the first cut, we just have no hope of covering it all. So the thought was just, do an 80% job and get constant defaults into the IDL.
Yeah, I think you get so much mileage out of that. It's worth tackling the stuff that we can, like things that are static, or both for like validation and for defaulting. It's worth trying to like get that going and then accept that like there's probably always going to have to be escape. like release valves for things that are only expressible in code.
Yeah. We
should
won't be able to
be-
cover the rest unless we get something like references or something.
Yeah, which is why we have things like admission webhooks and so on and so forth. Cool.
All right. So,
Soli, did you want to add something? Did you have a topic in mind? I know you're kind of new to this group, so.
I mean, largely the thing that I wanted to discuss was the IDL language, but I wanted to dig up some more historical documents in preparation before I threw that on the agenda, and just
Awesome.
ran out of time this
That'd be
week.
great.
that sounds cool.
Perfect.
Okay, then if nobody else has something, we're early done today.
That's fine.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks,
guys.
everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.